This is my story. This is the Southside Jamaica Queens story.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
You said you was gonna get me involved.
You pull that trigger, you in it.
Listen to the bass go crack your shot. When I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops.
You still in training. Time to put them reps in.
So Kanan starts off as this innocent young teen and is now quickly learning the ways of the streets. What can Power fans expect from young Kanan Stark?
What can Power fans... Actually, yeah, you take it. No. I want to see what you want to say.
Like the whole roller coaster ride of experiences for him, because it's the excitement, the levels of things that happen, the events that happen throughout the series is to the magnitude, it's as high as Power, the initial project. So I think that like the intensity is pretty interesting to have it be that intense when he's 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you had Ghost and Tommy, these grown-ass men involved in that actual lifestyle. The intensity level is that high for Kanan all the way through it. And I think when you see the innocence initially, like, that's what it is. It's the loss of innocence. I think is as he goes to...
He took my point. He took my talking point. That's crazy. that was going to be what I was going to say. Yeah,
You two really connected, right?
That's the one right there.
Get there, you start to really appreciate the character, you understand why he was behaving the way he was behaving, what you already saw, you know. So Mekai is just putting the button on it for me.
He just pretty much. Yeah, to also button what you just said about, basically, it's when we meet him, he's young and impressionable, and he's just trying to figure his way out through life. It's with a bunch of people around him that, influence him. That's why it's called Raising Kanan. You meet him as this child, a kid who knows nothing about anything. And, throughout the show, you get to go on the journey with him and see how he becomes so desensitized and how exactly he turns into the monster we know on Power. That's been the biggest, thing about it, is just the journey of watching him lose his innocence.
And it's really clear that Kanan and his mum Raquel are really close. And we know what happened to Kanan, but we don't really know what happened to his mum. So how will that be explored throughout the season?
I think just throughout the season, you're going to unpack their relationship. You're going to unpack just this entire family dynamic and how it's been presented to this world that that we're watching inside. You'll get to see, just how they all deal with certain situations, because like at the end of it all, like the main goal for this entire family is always looking out for each other. Like their thing is family over everything. Kanan is Rock's world and Rock is Kanan's world, and inside of Kanan and Rock's world is Uncle Lou and Uncle Marvin and Jukebox and all this other stuff happening. Everybody's always looking out for each other, inside of this one big machine that, that they're all in. And they all have different approaches to how, they might make this machine work. And that's something you get to see too, is, the constant butting of heads and the different approaches that they all want to take to ultimately the same goal.
The mistakes that they make are made with good intentions. Always like Uncle Marvin, he wants Kanan to get what he wants. Like if he wants to be in the life, he wants to help him for that. You know what I'm saying? And each thing creates new mistakes or bigger mistakes that come into it, and it's like not done with ill intentions. It's being done just something fucked up.
I call it a butterfly effect. That's what I've likened it to. Like you reap what you sow type thing. And I think a lot of people in this universe or in this storyline, they're all doing things without necessarily realizing how much they're affecting the other one, which, is basically how the shit happens in real life. But you get to see it as the viewer. You get to see it from all these different perspectives, how all of these different poles connect and make this one web for this one bigger picture that's now twisted because of all these different approaches.
Yeah. So you star as the matriarch of this series. Your character, Raquel Thomas, runs a tight ship as the leader of her crew in Southside, Jamaica, Queens, New York, as well as being the head of your family. What was it about Raquel that appealed to you?
Well, obviously she's very strong. For me, I keep telling a lot of people, for me, what drew me to my character is not that she's so strong, but she's fighting for a lot, right? But she's also the head of her family. She is the sole breadwinner for her family. She's the boss, but she's also a mother. And so what drew me to Raquel is seeing how she balances those two worlds. And, as one will see in this series soon enough, you'll see how the push and pull of that relationship, the mother and son relationship, which is at the core of what our show really is. It's about family as much as it is a crime drama. But Raquel is so strong, but she's also very vulnerable. She's a dreamer, but she also wants to be loved. And, to have a three-dimensional character like this to be able to play right now in our time, it's really cool. And as a Black woman, I feel so proud to be able to bring her to the screen.
What can Power fans expect from Raquel in Raising Kanan? What else can they?
What I can tell you that the Power fans who know and love Power, I mean, obviously they know and love it, but they can expect the same thing that the original series brought. It's, the same themes of legacy, violence, power, those themes will play. But what they will see that's a little different from the Power universe is that we really tap into the characters and the family. And it really is a family drama. And you will really go in, take a deep dive into, the pathology of family and how that is. And this family has a lot of secrets from each other, from the world. And you get to watch them, how they deal with these things. And, it is a crime drama. So there will be a lot of that too.
So what was it like working alongside 50 Cent on the show? Were you able to collaborate with him to kind of put in some input into your character?
Yeah, Fifth was in and out because obviously he's a very busy man. But just to work with Courtney Camp, to work with Sasha Penn, who's our showrunner, was great. And they were great collaborators. I was drawn into I was a fan of Power as well, and just the notion of exploring, the origin story of Kanan was really interesting to me because we know Kanan, the Kanan that we know was a monster, right?
Yeah.
But in this show, he's just an innocent teenage kid who can't tell left from right. He's just trying to figure out life like we all once were, and exploring that innocence that's what drew me in, because we're all, to a degree, we're all products of our environment and our circumstances. And I think for such the extremity, the extreme that we saw, the grown Kanan, to see the other side of that, I think it makes for great television.
Yeah, definitely. And so for you, I personally know you for your 90s movie roles like Juice, High Learning, and Into Deep. So how did it feel to go back to the 90s, and what made you want to revisit the 90s as Detective Howard?
It felt great. It was nostalgic. It's interesting because I'm not really the type of person who looks backwards. I'm sort of a go forward type of person. So to be in my hometown, which is very different from when I grew up in it, but exploring these these different areas and neighborhoods and stuff like that. But the time was a great time. Such a great time to reflect back on. And what was fun for me was, even though the show takes place in the 90s, my character is not from that era.
Yeah.
He's from the eras before, So that was fun for me to explore that You know, this guy was coming up in like the 70s. So
Yeah.
so everything, the way that things are happening in the show throughout the first season is all new to him. He doesn't get, you know, what this rapidy rap and all this stuff, like, you know. So that was a fun thing to play for me.
And 50, you grew up in Southside, Jamaica, Queens, New York. So how has that influenced Kanan's backstory?
Well, just the environment. The neighborhood was a lot harder back in the '90s. Like it was, you look at the beautiful buildings in New York City; they just didn't have windows. It just was abandoned buildings at that point, you know. And it was like a lot more see no evil, hear no evil. Yeah, you start when the police come in, I don't know what happened. And if you watch like first 48 now, you see how fast they tell. They all just tell everybody. With the detective, all you got to do is come in with a badge.
I was going to say for a Coke and some bag of chips. That's all you need.
God, you do something with them, they be like, yo, come out from behind the Cadillac. Yo, they got us. Come out from behind the Cadillac. You know what the fuck? What happened? It was all good just a week ago. You know, but they'll tell on you, and you be like, wow. So you really don't know who to trust, especially if you're choosing that lifestyle now. You know, it's a lot harder. Back then, they didn't know how they would function in the environment. If you were able to eat home, if you went away, and then you destroyed your ability to eat when you came home, you don't know what you in a hurry to get home to.
Yeah.
So if the person got incarcerated, they wouldn't tell because they want to go home. Like their whole base, their home base, the whole, not just your social circle, but who you are, period. Like everybody who knows you. You destroy that, then what are you in a hurry to get to?
Yeah.
That's all we built throughout our lives is how you carry yourself, the relationships you develop, and how people know you to be a good person if that's what you would develop, you know, like. And it's interesting because I think that the show delivers in so many different ways. I think that people find themselves, the music pulling them to that time period. You know, and everything about it it brings you into the '90s, and I think that is what's going to separate it from the other power series, because the other ones are in today.
Yeah.
Today's time, whether it was Power, Ghost, or Force.
I'm sure we'll see it play out very soon.
You will.
And we also know that Rock didn't want Kanan to follow in her footsteps. She had better plans for him, bigger plans for him. Do you think that was always inevitable? You know, do you think he was always going to follow in his mother's footsteps?
I think that's the thing that's the naive thing I think it is for Rock, you know, like she doesn't see it. Obviously, she had him very young and she knows the game. She knows this is probably not the game that she should even be in. Obviously, it's the life that she lives and she's had to kind of just do it, you know, but I don't think that is what she wants for her son. I think what she wants for her son is for him to be the best that he can possibly be. She wants him to go to college. She wants all of the things that a normal mother who is not in the crime, you know, she wants all of these things for her son because she sees him and she sees what he can be and she knows what the end result is of this world. And all the Power fans know as well because we know how Kanan ends up. So from the very beginning, when the show starts, she's trying to get him to think about something. I'll pivot away from this. I know you see me doing this. I love you more than anything. I don't want to send you away, but if I can continue to be a mother the best way I know how, to instill in you all of the things that's going to set you up to be successful, I'm doing good. You know, does that happen? You will see. You know, because you've seen the first episode.
I'm not going to say anything, but
yeah, she tries very hard. I think what you will see her being. Rock is a fantastic mother. She tries so hard for everyone in her life, but mostly her son, because she loves him more than anything, is to be that person for him. And sometimes because she's playing the mother and the father, she has to be a little bit rough with him. But at the end of the day, she loves him more than anything. And she's going to do what she can to protect him, but also protect the dream that she has for him.
We don't actually know that much about Detective Howard. So how will he shake things up? Like, what can we expect from him?
Well, what I like to call Detective Howard is he's an octopus, in that he has tentacles everywhere. You know, he's from the hood, so he knows that he's NYPD, so he knows that. But at the end of the day, he's a puppeteer. He manipulates everything for his own benefit. So, you know, he's like the central character, if you will, of the show, because he's gonna touch everybody in some way, fashion, or form. And
that's interesting because Power's kind of known for having corrupt cops. So is Detective Howard any different? Will we have to see?
Well, I don't, you know, corrupt is a strong word, you know, but it's also relative. It depends on what you need at that particular time.
Right.
But he's again, like I just said, he's selfish. Everything he's self-serving. You know, if it doesn't serve him, you know, he's not into it, or he's gonna force you into you know, serving his benefits. So, but we'll see how corrupt he is, or if he is corrupt, you know, in any way.
Yeah.
He might not be. He might be the most innocent cop you've ever met.
With character, so Omar Epps' character, Malcolm, Detective Malcolm Howard, Rock seems a little bit afraid of him, you know, and that was a shock for me because she doesn't seem like she's afraid of anyone. So, you know, can you tell us a bit more about that?
I know she's afraid of him. There's clearly a history of some sort there that the Power world, stay tuned, that you will see. But you know, obviously he's the cop around the way that's always causing trouble for everybody. So she knows him, she knows his history, and it's literally the last thing she needs is for him to be involved in anything, because he is the guy that always comes to the hood and creates trouble for everyone. So he's bad business for her.
And speaking of the first season, can we, you know, we're not sure where Detective Howard's story is going to go yet, but would you be interested in seeing him pop up in, say, the future universe seasons like Ghost, Force, or Influence?
I mean, that, you know, that could be interested if it's executed in the right way. But you know, it just has to be done in the right way. Like, you know, we're coming from the 90s, and some of these shows are like nowadays. So, you know, I don't know if I want to put on the whole gray beard. And you know, he's walking around with a cane.
You wouldn't go, this is us future episodes on us.
Right. Maybe we just keep going backwards.
Right.
Make him younger.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. And my last question, would you be up for a season 2 of Raising Kanan?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I think I'm allowed to say it, but we're gearing up to do that now. So.
Oh, cool. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I would love that more than anything. I think we're just getting started with our storytelling. These new characters that we are introducing into the universe are so just, I keep talking about my character being 3-dimensional and so exciting. And what I love about every character in Raising Kanan is that anyone, any walk of life is going to be able to pull something from these characters. And it's the family unit that we have in this show. You know, it's a family dynamic that a lot of people have, and they're just very exciting characters. And I'm so looking forward to people really catching on and loving some of the characters in the show, because they really are fantastic.
And in episode 1, we were introduced to a host of new characters, but when will we get our first glimpse at Ghost and Tommy?
I can't tell you exactly when, but they're in that, you know, they're in Kanan's life before he went to jail. And, you know, potentially Tasha's already around. Because when you see that Ghost forgives Kanan for his actions, and they go back to working with each other, but Tasha still has.
Tasha was at the heart of so much shit that went wrong in the first Power, bro. And I'll stick by that, bro. I will stick by it.
So she's an important component and piece.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At some point they'll meet them.